Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome to my channel if you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I'm going to make a card using the September Super Kit from Lizi, and it's called the Indigoletta card kit. In the description down below you'll find links to the website, the products I'm using, and the measurements for this card and everything that I put into it. So don't panic, just sit back, relax and enjoy the video. So in the card kit, which I have already unboxed, and there's a link to that down in the description, there is this 6x6 card base. Now it's not a standard 6x6 card base, it's a really cool one. So when you open it up, it opens up like this. So Lizi's idea was that you could maybe put some pattern paper in here, close this over, and then this would be how your card base is. So you could open it like that. But I had a better idea. I thought this would make a really cool showstopper card. And I love a big showstopper card. Now I have a little bit of smudge there. I'm going to see if I can get that off before I go any further. Oh, lovely. It is coming off. Great. Okay. So this is our card base. Now, if you want to make this yourself, it's 18 inches long. So that's, I don't know, unless you get A3 cardstock. You could do it using a 12x6 piece. If it's a case of you do have a 12x12 piece of cardstock, you could cut it down to 12x6, then cut another piece 6.5x6, score it at 1/2 inch, and you could join the two pieces together. Or you could do a 6.5, a 6.5, and this has a 6, and join 3 pieces together. So if you're doing it from scratch and you don't have this and you don't have the kit, it's an easy way to make this card base yourself. Now, what I want to do is I want to have the whole thing open. I'm going to go through the products first that I'm going to use to make it easier for you. So I will be using the stamp set. I'm going to use this piece here, and then I'm going to stamp inside on your special day. And this piece here, it can be stamped on its own, and then you can put any of the sentiments in. The same with this one. You can stamp this circle piece and then stamp whichever sentiment you want. So it's really, really good. So I'm going to have that stamped. You'll see it already. I'm also going to be using some Love from Lizi products. I'm going to use the nested labels. These are available on the website. I love them. There's 14 dies in this, and the largest is an A2 size, so it's really, really handy to have. And I die cut out using these, and I'll show that as well later. I also use the nested rectangle dies. There's 16 in this. There's so many in it. I put half on the front and half on the back. What I do is I put every alternative die or alternate die on here, and then the ones in between are all on this side. And it's just to make it easier to take them off and use them. I'm also going to use the circle dies. There's 21 dies in this pack. And again, I've done every alternate one. So this is the largest one. And then this is actually the smallest one. So the largest one measures 5.5 inches diameter, and the smallest one is 1/2 inch diameter. And I love these dies. Lizi has ones. These ones, when you die cut out your circle, the stitching is on the piece that comes out of the middle. She also has another set, and it actually puts the stitching on the other side. Brilliant sets of dies. I have them in my stash and I use them regularly. Fabulous. So I'll be using this. So now, this is the die that I'm going to use. This die is 4 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And the reason I chose this die was it's a little bit bigger than the opening in our card, and the reason for that is I want to put some pattern paper on it. Now this piece of purple cardstock, it measures 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and the pattern paper on this is 5.5 by 5.5. So it'll sit on there like that, if you can imagine it with a die cut out circle. So I've glued these two together, and the best way to do our opening here is if you flip this over and pop this on there, so your cardstock is generally where you want it to be. So you want to make sure now this is where you're going to have it on the other side. Flip it over and then take a pencil and draw around it. That's what I've done. Now I've only used the pencil down this far, and the same over here. I want to fussy cut around the leaves here and have it as a really fab piece. So once you have drawn your circle, you can do a whole circle or however much of the circle you want. When you take this away, you'll be able to put your die over the top. And once you have the same amount of border on the right as on the left, so the whole way around, I can then take a piece of low tack tape, stick that on there, and then put this through my die machine. Now, when I put this through my die machine, I'm going to do some partial die cutting. So I'll take the plate, this is the plate off my Big Shot, and I'll sit it on top just to here. And I'll put it through my machine. So everything under this plate will be cut out, but anything that isn't won't be cut. And that's what I want. I want this circle to be cut out, but I don't want this part cut out. So I'll put that through my machine and I'll die cut that out. But before I do that, I want to go through the rest of my pieces with you. So I have used some of the coloured cardstock that came in the kit. Now these 4 pieces are all the same. I've used the dark purple to cut out 2 pieces, and then the lighter purple, these 2 pieces. Because we got 1 sheet of each colour, I had to do it this way. So the 4 pieces of our purple card, they measure 5.5 by 5.5. Then I've 3 pieces of pattern paper. They measure 5.25 by 5.25. As does this white piece here. It measures 5.25 by 5.25 as well. Now you can see I've done my stamping already, and I have stamped using the stamp in the stamp set. I've used that on your special day, and I've stamped that inside. So I've done the surround in a purple color, and the purple that I've used is this. It's VersaFine Clair Monarch ink, and I love it. I thought it was a little bit dark, but the next kind of purple color I had was a more of a pinky purple, so that's why I went with this color. I've also got a strip of cardstock here, and this strip measures 5.25 by 3/4 of an inch, and I've stuck that down. So I'm going to have the 2 darker purple colors. This one is going to go on the front here, and then this piece is going to go on here. So when my card is closed, it will be closed like this. Now on the front, I've used those label dies, and I've die cut out some pieces. So I'm going to flip that over now just for a minute. So with these pieces, I'll show you which ones I've used. Here we go. So I've die cut out this one, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you go 5 dies in, that'll give you this pink glitter card, and it's non-shed. And then I've gone in 2 dies from that, so into the 7th die, and I've stamped Happy Anniversary. Now I did that in Versamark ink, and I used some purple, and this was a very close match to the colors that's in the pattern paper. This is a Paper Mania lilac color embossing powder. So I've that done, and I'm going to pop that in the front. I'm keeping the front just as it is. I'll stick a couple of gems around that as well as inside, because I want it to be opened like so. So we'll have our sentiment here where we can stamp our message, and then when we open that up, this is what's going to be shown on the mantelpiece or, you know, on display, this is what we're going to see. So these two pieces will go in here like that. And then I've die cut out some more. Now, this is my mother and father-in-law. It's a wedding anniversary card for them. They're 56 years married. And when I saw this, I thought it would be brilliant for a showstopper, and they are who I had in mind. So this is them on their wedding. And this is them, I think, last year. So relatively, I didn't have a kind of, you know, standing for the camera. So I had to go back a year or so for this one. So these are the two pictures. And again, I use the label dies. I use the largest one here. I think it's this one here. So it's it's the fourth one from the outside. And then it's the sixth one is this purple color. And then I took that rectangle nesting dies, and I took one of those so I could cut out for it to have the image inside. So that's why I use those dies. So those two are going to go there. I'm going to add some ephemera. I've all my bits and pieces. I'll move them out of it. I'm going to add some pieces of ephemera, and I'm going to pop them down on the bottom there. I thought that would look nice. And another one down there, reminiscent of the bouquet, you know, with the flowers. So I'll put them there. And I want to be able to see the bottom of my frame so that people can see it's the same. So that'll go there. And then we'll have our piece of pattern paper with our die that we've die cut out. And I'm going to use this. It's a piece of acetate. Now, this piece of acetate, it is... I was sure I wrote that down. I didn't. Okay. It measures 5.5 by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to sit that across here. And then I've taken some number dies from my stash, and I've die cut that out, the 56. So that'll go in there like so, together. Like that. And then I have one of the bows that came in the kit, and I'm going to pop that up the top there like so. I'll embellish with some gems around, as well as some of the lovely pink glitter hearts peel-offs. And I picked these out because they'll go with the glitter cardstock that I used for the frame. Now this would have a cover on over it, and I found taking off the hearts, if I peeled that off, it just left behind the peel-offs. So that's why mine might look a bit different to yours. I'm also going to use these. These came in a previous kit, and I can't remember when, but I liked the happy life and the love is in the air. So I thought I would put love is in the air on this one here, and then happy life on this one here. And that's the plan with that. So now that is more or less how the card is going to look. I'm going to die cut out my panel to go here. I'm not covering behind this because really, unless someone's looking at that very back, they're not going to see it. So I'm going to leave that as it is. So I'm going to die cut out the panel to go on here, and then I'm going to start assembling everything. So you can see here I have my circle partially die cut out. I'm taking away the excess there around the flowers and leaves, and I'm fussy cutting them out. Now this was a little tricky because I've got my purple cardstock and the pattern paper, and the pattern paper, you know, it's not just a light paper, it's a nice heavyweight paper, so it was a little bit tricky. I just took my time. I moved the paper around more so than the scissors, and I'm very happy with the finish that I got for that. So when you're doing that, just take your time, have a good light above, and a sharp scissors. That's what I recommend. So I'm just tidying up the little excess pieces, and then I'll be able to stick that down in place. Next, I'm going to work on the piece of acetate that is going to sit astride the die cut opening there for my numbers to sit on. And I put a little bit too much tape, double-sided tape on them. So just put a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch or a 1/8 inch piece of double-sided tape at the ends of the acetate piece because you don't want to see them once your pattern paper piece sits down on top. I'm happy with the location now of the acetate, and I'm going to pop down my lovely panel to go on top of it. And I'm using Collal glue here to glue this down. It's a solvent glue. I need something that's going to be strong because of the acetate there that's down on the white piece. Now I can put down my panel on the front. I'll open my card and then I can put my two panels down, one on the left and one on the right. You might notice as well that our two panels, the one on the left and the right, are actually a tiny bit smaller than the one in the middle. And I did that on purpose because I wanted there to be a very small difference there. I think it pulls your eye in and it looks well. I'm going to work on our lovely little panels now with our images in them. I'll place them down on each side and then I'm going to put some of the lovely ephemera down on those. And with those in place now, I can work on the little labels that we have. I'll put one on the left and then one over on the right. And I love these sentiment strips across the pictures. I'm going to take another one and place it across the bottom of the middle panel as well. And I do think these look lovely. So there we go. It's just a matter of deciding where I'm going to put them. And I love the little angle on the ends of the two, one on the right and one on the left. I think it gives, you know, it's not a blunt end. I'm working on those numbers now and I'm using a little bit of my Collal glue, and I know really we should use a tape on acetate, but the Collal glue, with it being a solvent glue, I figured that'll work perfect. With that done then I can add a little bow over the top, and I love those pre-tied bows, makes it so easy. I'll take some gems then and I'll dot them around, one at either end of that sentiment panel in the middle, and then I'll kind of keep it to odd numbers around each of the panels too. I'm going to pop down my front label, and this is the only place that I have happy anniversary on the card, but I think it's enough really. I'll add again some gems there, one either side of the anniversary word, and then I'll pop a couple around where the flowers are. So I'm delighted with this now. I think it's coming out really well. I'm just going to add a few more of the gems inside, and then I'm going to pop some on the back panel where we'll put our message to Granny and Granddad, or to Mum and Dad. I'm going to finish off now with some of those lovely heart peel-offs. I'm going to dot a couple around as well because, I mean, you know, love is in the air. So I think a couple of little hearts would be lovely. And like I said earlier, it pulls the frames, the pink glitter frames, it matches them. So I'll just add two now lastly to the number, and there we go. And here we are. Here is our finished card, and I hope you'll agree with me that it is a really special card. I do love it, and it folds in nicely. There is a bit of dimension to it because I've put some foam on these, but if you put these flat, your panels for the photographs, if you put those flat, then your card would be much flatter. I have made a box. I do have these on my channel, and this just opens here like so, and it'll fit in there nicely. It's a 6x6 box. It's an inch deep, and it's just a little keepsake for the recipient, for Kathleen and Nigel to keep their card. Well, it'll be Kathleen, let's be honest. Kathleen will keep it. So I have a lovely little box to put my card in, and it's easy enough to open, and our card pops out then, and I think it's lovely. I'm delighted with it. I love this style of a showstopper card, and I think it really is. On the back of the card here, I die cut these out in white and stuck them down over it. I think it tidied up the acetate. You can't see now where the numbers were stuck on, so that's just an idea for you to do. And I do love it. I've used so many of the products. The only thing I haven't used from the kit is the numbers because I wanted some nice big numbers on this. And I love the stickers. I've utilized some products that we got in previous kits, so I really like that. Love is in the air. It was love from first sight and happy life. I just think the colours in this are gorgeous, and I know Kathleen will love it. I've added the bow on the top. We put some lovely pink glitter peel-offs on our card, as well as the gems and everything, and I think this has come out really well. I like the simplicity on the back here to put our message. I wanted to use this part of the stamp. I just think it's lovely, and I'll put a little message there, and what I'll do is maybe put a little note in with it, a little letter with it, for Kathleen to have. So that is our lovely showstopper card. I think it came out really, really well. It displays so nicely. You know, it's hard for you to see, but I'll put it in the pictures. It just looks so lovely, and I hope they're happy with it. It's a special one, 56 years of marriage, huh? I think they will like it. I hope they do. So that's it, folks. I'm going to leave it there. If you have enjoyed my video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and ding the bell. That way you'll be notified next time I post another video on my channel. There's a new button down below. It's a super thanks button. If you'd like to help support my channel by clicking that, I would appreciate it. And all the links are down in the description. The measurements that I've used and the products that I've used are down there as well. So that's it. Until next time, folks, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye for now. Bye bye.